topic for today.
I was interviewed this morning bright and early, 7 o'clock my time, which is 10 o'clock normal people's time. I was interviewed by a lovely young man who was asking me about whether the feminists have created a myth about patriarchy. And that was one of the press releases that International Council for Men and Boys sent out. So as he was talking and talking and talking, he said, "You know why I got into this?" I said, "No, I'm very interested in why." He said, I was a widow. Now, this guy couldn't have been older than 41, 42. He said, "I was a widow with two daughters. My wife suddenly died. And I went to my church and I asked for support as a single father. How is I going to do this?" And the church said, "Well, we have plenty of support for women's groups, but we have nothing for men's groups." And I said, "How? How is that possible?" He said, "I went to several churches and there was no support for men, especially men who were hurting and grieving and needed help." So I decided to create this podcast. And I said, it's identical to mothers who lost children to drunken drivers, mad. Mothers who united and lost their children only to become a force unto themselves and to make policy that changed lives. And that's what he did on his podcast. So my lesson in all of this and my message to everybody is that you can either grieve alone and get sick over it, internalizing all your pain, find a friend with whom you can grieve, who can help you, or find a support system that can help you. But if you can't find anybody who cares enough to get you through that horrible period, do something similar to what this man did. He created a podcast in efforts of discussing men's issues to make sure that he was the very last man to have to experience this pain. I think he was remarkable, and God bless him for that. So anybody can do that.
All right. It's just amazing to hear these things, these stories, because because you never know whose life you're going to be able to change literally through podcasting and being a guest on someone's podcast or meeting somebody. And those stories, Gilda, are just unreal.
Well, the stories that people are telling me are simply unreal. I was on another show yesterday, and this man was telling me that he too developed his show because of a need in him to service men. He had been in the military and he wanted to make a statement for the poor men who come out of the military without any kind of support. They just dump them out. And I know this for working with homeless female veterans. They just dump them out and say, "You're on your own." It's so unfair. They don't even give them a lifeboat. And so there are people such as ourselves who go out and try to make a difference.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a definite interesting thing, Gilda, and but mission driven. That's what you're all about. Is
That's what
helping
I'm all
others.
about. And that's what everybody should be all about. Because if you're being driven by money, well, all the stats in the world say money is not a motivator. Oh, yeah, it'll get you to get fired up for a little while. But the thing that you're doing is not going to carry you if you don't have your heart in it. And we need our hearts to be in whatever we're doing.
All right. Gilda, drgilda.com. And that was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the GildaGram Podcast, guys.